Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we talk about problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with the video.
My brother got married to my best friend. I and my sister-in-law, brother's wife, have been friends for 7 years. We had the best days of our life, and there were no secrets between us. We shared every little detail of our lives. We thoroughly knew about each other and knew what sort of people we were like. 7 years is a long period. We passed high school together and then took admission in the same college. We would hardly leave each other's side. As we were best friends, of course, we knew about every boy that had been in our lives. Being best friends, the biggest flex and also the biggest disaster is that there are no secrets and you know everything about each other. The same was the case with us. During the second year of college, my best friend broke up with her boyfriend over a misunderstanding. Her boyfriend accused her of cheating and dumped her. As I was her best friend, I asked her what the situation actually was. She told me that it was about a party last month where a guy made a move on her and she could not resist him. She told me that she was just having fun and never contacted with that guy again. Her boyfriend had found out about it and was not ready to listen to her. I told her that she was the one who was responsible for the situation. The college passed, and we, of course, went to the same university for admission. My best friend started seeing my brother secretly, and I came to know about that from my brother when he announced to the family that he was interested in my best friend and wanted to marry her. I was shocked to my bones. It was something I had never imagined. I asked my friend about it, and she said that she was very scared to tell me and could not imagine how I was going to react to the news. I said that whatever it was, she could have told me, as I was so disappointed to hear it from my brother. Our families got together, and my best friend got engaged to my brother. I was a bit uncomfortable with this new relationship, as she was my best friend and knew every detail of my life, and now she was going to be family member. I did not doubt that she would share my secrets with my brother, but who knows? There was no guarantee to it. The major issue I had with her was that she did not stop flirting with other guys and hung out with them. She would go to the parties without any hesitation, to which she got invitations from our fellow guys. I asked her if she was even serious because she was engaged now and had to maintain her distance because of the commitment. She was furious at me and told me that my brother knew everything about her whereabouts, and I was not the one who should be concerned. It was just another weekend when my best friend asked me to join her at the party, and I agreed. I went to her house and we got ready together, and then were picked up by some senior boys. I was a bit uncomfortable, but she was being overly cozy. I only witnessed her being over-friendly with strangers that whole evening and barely enjoyed my time. I knew I had to talk to my brother about this. I asked him how he could allow her to go to such wild parties and mingle with strangers when she was engaged to him. He was shocked to know and said that he was clueless about everything. I told him the whole story and asked him to manage his relationship well. My brother, of course, talked about it to my best friend, and to my horror, she blamed me for everything. She said that it was me who pushed her to attend every other party and even asked her not to tell my brother anything as he would mind. She also told him that I was not happy with their relationship from the very start, and it was just my plan to create a distance between them. My brother was mad at me. I asked her what was going wrong with her, to which she replied that I was the worst friend ever who could not be trusted. She also said that I was a bitch and could not see her happy with my brother. I told her that I was no more interested in being her friend, as she lied and blamed me for everything. I asked her if she was so scared to answer my brother, and why did she even do those things? Well, our years-long relationship ended, and I guess we are now just relatives. AITA? My brother and my ex-friend got married that year, and I got married to my boyfriend just 6 months after their wedding. I moved to another state as my boyfriend got hired by a reputable company there. I was glad as I was not going to see that couple almost every day and enjoy my new life. Things never got smooth between me and my ex-best friend, and I did not even care to mend them. We got a phone call one day from my dad who told us that my brother was blessed with a son, and my dad wanted us to come back and join them in their celebrations. We shopped for the little new member and were very excited to go back and celebrate his birth. As we got back and got to meet the little munchkin, at the very first glimpse, he looked totally different from both the families. I did not say anything at that time and had a grand feast with my family. After a day or two, I decided to talk to my brother about what was bothering me so much. I clearly told him that it seemed like the kid was not his. He was furious and yelled at me, asking what was my problem and why I could not leave them alone. I calmed him down and told him about his wife's previous relationship and also the reason why it ended. I told him that her ex-boyfriend suspected her of cheating, and when I tried to intervene and help them clear the misunderstandings, he told me that he had proof against her, that she slept with someone else, so she could not be trusted. I told him that if he did not believe me, I could help him contact her ex. My brother said that if I turned out to be wrong, he would kill me. I told him to get a DNA test without telling his wife, and we will see what was the matter. I assured him that I was only concerned for him and did not want anything else. I somehow managed to convince my brother to take a DNA test and keep it a secret from his wife, as she was a troublemaker and would not let go of the matter. I went with him for the test and assured him time and time again that I was only worried for him and nothing else. The reports came out and they turned out to be in favor of my brother and his wife. My brother was sort of angry and told me that I should have been minding my own business. I told him that I was just concerned and wanted him to go for the best, just for the safe side. And when everything is clear now, I'm happy for him. I assured him that this was going to be a secret, and we would never talk about it again. I came back with my husband and got busy with my life. My brother called me one day and was boiling with anger. He told me to return as soon as possible as it was a matter of his whole life. I asked him what had happened, to which he replied that he would tell me clearly once I got back. I instantly booked a ticket and flew back after a few days. When I got home, everyone seemed furious and looked at me like I was an escaped prisoner. I asked what was the matter. My brother threw the test report in my face and said that this was the issue. I tried to clear everything and told everyone that I was just worried. My brother told me that his wife found out about the test and could not be convinced to stay. She said that it was absolute disrespect, as we did not trust her and thought of her as a slut. So she took my nephew and left the house, saying that she would never come back. My brother told me that now I was supposed to go to her and beg her to return. I agreed, as I knew it was me who was going to be blamed. I went to her and apologized, but she was not ready to listen to anyone. I did my best, but she was not ready to come back. I left her house, came back, and told my family that she would be okay in a few days, as she was angry right now, so she would not listen to anyone. I came back after a few days, and my brother told me that if things didn't go well, I would have to face the consequences. My sister-in-law filed for divorce, and my brother was devastated. He asked me to return, so I convinced my husband to accompany me, as I knew what sort of drama I would have to encounter there. As we reached our house, my brother was already out of control and called me a bitch for ruining his married life. I told him that whatever I had said for his wife was 100% true and there was no made-up story, so if he wanted any proof, I was there to provide him. I told him that whatever I did was just out of concern. He told me that as his wife filed for divorce, I also had to divorce my husband because I was the reason for his married life's destruction. I was speechless to hear that. My husband stepped in and told him to shut up, as I had no responsibility for the matter. My brother started talking about my ex and everything his wife had told him, especially the things which had to remain secret. My husband raised his voice and asked my brother to shut up. He told my brother that I was still far better than his wife, as I was not two-faced. My husband grabbed me by the arm and told everyone that we were not going to stay for a second in that house and left. NTA. Everything you did was just because you did not want to see your brother in any problem, but the fact is that your brother just married the problem. Your concern is justified, and every sister would be worried in such a scenario. You did not at least talk about her character in front of everyone, and shared your concerns secretly with your brother only. After getting the reports, you did not peek into the matter any more and left them on their own. So whatever went wrong after you, they are the ones who are responsible. NTA. But the OP was a little too worried about the things which least concerned her. She was married and went to another state to start a new life, but could not stop worrying about her brother's life. Whatever the situation was, she could just leave them alone and mind her own life, but she chose to create a drama. It was lucky for her that her husband took a stand, or there was no chance her brother would spare her.
Next story.
I, 52, male, have 2 daughters, 17, Angie and Julie. The girls are twins, but are different in every way. Growing up, Angie shared a lot more interests with my wife. She loved performing in pageants, cheerleading, the whole 9 yards. While Julie shared my enthusiasm for the outdoors, camping and wildlife photography. It wasn't intentional, but over time, my wife started spending more time with Angie, while I spent more time with Julie. We tried taking the girl to more places together, but it'll always end in an argument because they didn't have any shared interests, and Julie hated going shopping or seeing her sister perform in pageants, while Angie despised the outdoors and always refused to go camping with Julie and I. I'll say this now, I adore both my girls, and I'm incredibly proud of both of them, but the bond I have with Julie is stronger due to our shared interests. Same goes for Angie and my wife. Recently, while bird watching, Julie broke the camera we got her for her 15th birthday. It was an expensive camera, and she was distraught because she knew we couldn't afford to buy her a new one. I knew how much that camera meant to Julie, who wants to work in photography after graduation, so I decided to take more overtime shifts and sell some of my personal belongings so I could afford to buy her a new one. It took me a while, but I ended up surprising her with a really nice camera, and she was overjoyed. I told her she can repay me by making me an album with all the photos she takes throughout the year. Angie approached me the next day saying she needs a new dress for her upcoming pageant. This confused me a bit because she usually discusses things like that with my wife. I asked how much she needs, and she says the dress she wants is $4,050. I told her I'm sorry, but I can't afford to get her that dress right now, and she might want to ask her mother. Angie said Mom already told her no, and she knows I could make an effort because I bought Julie the camera. I tried explaining that a camera and a dress are different, but she argued that I could just work more overtime and sell more of my stuff like I did for Julie. When I refused and told her to either find a cheaper dress or rent one, she exploded and accused me of favoritism. Although my decision had nothing to do with favoritism, I didn't bother denying it. She is now going to relatives complaining how I like Julie over her. From my point of view, she can't really complain because my wife favors her over Julie. Besides, most of our money already goes towards her pageants and dance competitions, so she can't say I don't get her stuff. Some of my relatives are calling me a jerk for not denying the favoritism, but I don't see the point. Angie obviously favors her mom over me and even told me so a couple of times, but that doesn't mean she doesn't love me. So why is it treated differently the other way around? I could really use some insight. Am I missing something? AITA? I'll clear up some things since most of you are assuming things that never happened. First off, I'm not rich. Really wish I was, but I'm not. I'm an immigrant, and so is my wife. I work as an ICU nurse, and my wife is a dance teacher. We make an honest living, and that's about it. Second of all, since most of you are worried about finances, I'll admit we don't spend the same amount of money on the girls. Angie's hobbies are much more expensive for my wife and I to support. Makeup, dresses, travel, music lessons, and pageant entry fees are much more expensive than the hiking boots, sleeping bag, and tent Julie occasionally asks for. Julie didn't ask for the camera. I surprised her with it. She is going to study photography right after high school, and I wanted to show my support. Besides that, I also enjoy photography, so the camera can be used by both of us for a long period of time. I got the camera on sale, and it cost me $3,200. It's a professional camera, and she'll be able to use it for a long time. Third of all, I love both my daughters. My wife and I try to take an active part in both their lives. I drive Angie to pageants, try to learn her choreography whenever I can, and support her from the audience. My wife also makes an effort to be in Julie's life. That being said, Angie spends more time with my wife because she chooses to do so. Same goes for Julie spending time with me. We never denied our kids love or attention. The whole favoritism thing isn't new either. It's all in good fun, and the girls are fine with it, and they joke about it all the time. The only time Angie used it in an argument was when I refused to get her the dress. We love our daughters the same, but it's just easier for me to get along with Julie and for my wife to get along with Angie. That's why I refer to it as my favorite. I don't know how some of you interpreted that, as me saying the girls are not loved, abused, tormented by the other parent, but that's not the case. Fourth of all, for those wondering, I've discussed it with my wife, and we are not getting Angie that dress. It's too big of an expense for a one-time use. Angie's behavior and how she asked for the dress are very unbecoming and made us wonder if we should encourage the girls to find a part-time job, because that level of entitlement is not something we encourage in our household. If any of you have any more questions, feel free to ask. It's better than assuming stuff that never happened. YTA, your question was specifically about favoritism and not about the dress, so I am going to address that. You're the parent. It is your job to take an interest in your child, not to only care about her interests if they mimic yours. Her being closer to her mother is your failing. You should try harder. She's not obliged to try with you. She doesn't like me as much, so why should I like her? Is extremely emotionally immature. Yes, I agree with YTA for the favoritism. However, $4K for a dress is a huge ask. Plus, the daughter already asked mom, and she said no, so she's trying to manipulate dad into buying the dress. This whole family needs to have a sit down and hash this out together. Clear the air. Also, they need to set budgets for hobbies because I know that mom is spending way more than $4K a year on pageants. Costumes and clothing, professional hair, professional makeup, talent lessons, talent gear, speech coaching, poise and etiquette coaching, travel and accommodations. That stuff costs like $20 to $30K a year. If dad is working overtime shifts to afford a camera, yet mom is spending tens of thousands a year on pageants, that's a huge inequity.